Ease on in, ease on down the road.
I can do either of those, sure.
Welcome. Hi, my name is Michael Tyler Crusados, and this is not Table Talk, it's Tavern Talk. I'm going to get it right, and I got it right. We are back at the table, this time with another new guest. For our goblins who do not know, this is Jonah. Welcome, Jonah.
Hi, y'all.
Jonah, you are well known on the internet for having a mustache.
I sure am, and all the places that mustache goes.
Yes, and I have one now today as well.
Terrific.
This is a new venture for me, the mustachioed moments. How long have you had yours?
I've had a mustache for, 9 years now. I grew it in spring of 2017.
Do you feel like people treat you differently because of a mustache?
Ooh, I definitely grew it with the interest of, one, appearing less like boyishly youthful, because I had that problem of people think I'm 20 when I'm 30 back at the time. And also, I definitely wanted to telegraph a retro pigginess that my face without it doesn't do.
I think the mustache does allow for that, and it speaks without having to say anything.
Tells a story.
No, I was recent into the mustachioed game because I shaved my head, and I was like, all right, well, if this is all I have to play with on this side of my face or this side of my head, let's see what I can do with the mustache. So I'm keeping it for now. We'll see. But I usually it's out of pure laziness. I'll keep it. I do like a beard though sometimes. There's old pictures of me back in the day in college where I had the mutton chops. The mutton chops down.
Send me those.
No, those were like on my old Facebook and I probably deleted it. I'll have to go back and find it. Lost to time. That was also the time. Did you do this in college where you went through a lot of like hair experimentation because you weren't fully out, so you had to express yourself differently?
I did it for different reasons. Like I'd been fully out for a long time by college, but it was the first time I really had no Catholic school limitations on haircut. So I just let it keep growing, and it was an uncombed, frequently washed but unbrushed mass down past my shoulders. It was bad.
Yeah, I was in that same route when I first went to college. I was like, oh my God, my mom's not going to be on my case about shaving, so I can grow a beard for the first time. But nobody taught me. Like my father specifically taught me how to shave, and my mother, was all about like, okay, this is how you have to keep wash and blah blah blah. Like when I was younger, to teach me to take care of myself. But neither of them taught me that I should be washing a beard, which is just natural. It was just like, you should be doing that. It's hair. But like, I didn't wash my beard for like 3 months in college. And everyone was like grossed out by me, and I didn't know why. And I realized it was just like I had this hairball on my face that I just didn't take care of. So young gay men, take care of your facial hair. It's important. It will get you it'll open a lot of doors for you, as Jonah can attest, among other things. Thank you for joining us at the table. We've known each other for about like a year and a half now, I think.
That sounds about right.
And
it might be even more like 3 years.
Probably. The internet's a wide and varied place. But playing with you is a pleasure for me, because I feel like I've gotten to know you much better in a faster way than I think I probably would have in other modes. Mostly because I feel like once I pass that threshold of like, oh, you're a nerd, or oh, you have that like nerdy, you have some passion, something to focus on. It's just like, oh, I can do that too. I can be sincere about this. I can be silly about this. I can let my guard down, and this person across from me also wants to let their guard down. It's like this precursor to be like, okay, now I get to know who this person is a little bit.
We have a context by which we're like, cool, let's play.
Exactly.
Let's show.
Exactly. But I do have to say, out of all of the players, when I first started playing, you scared me the most.
Oh, interesting.
And not in a bad way. It was like, you are so good at role playing, in so much that you're sitting across from me and I'm playing an NPC or something, and I'm like, oh, is he mad at me? And I'm like, no, it's his character. And I had to remind myself, but it was like, you were very good at like projecting that emotion that it made me second guess myself, especially like off stream, where I'm like, it was nothing bad.
I didn't know it was happening.
Neither did I. I was like, oh God, am I doing something wrong? I was like, no, it's this. And we had a little conversation off stream about like things I was impeding your character on, which to this day, I really do appreciate, because I'm not fully aware of things sometimes. So for you to not call me out, but to call this out of being like, this isn't working for me, I do appreciate. I don't think enough people at D&D tables are saying what is and is not working, or just in life. So to have the balls to come up and say like, hey, I need this to change, that speaks more to you than I think most things. It's just being like, you have no problem standing up for what it is that you need to experience, especially if you're going to spend an hour to 3 of your time playing a game. You want to make sure it's a good time.
I'm also trying to play a character that is not like other characters that I have played. I'm trying to explore new things in a like TTRPG setting that are like not how I normally do stuff. I have such a hard time lying in character.
Yeah, because I've noticed that I know there's so for those of you who don't know the Goblin Guy stream, Jonah is playing Prasa. But Prasa has a big secret that we have not revealed on stream yet. So we're gonna dance around that secret as much as we can. We do not have to talk about it in depth.
We'll find the moment for it. But
we'll find the moment for it.
I am attempting to play a character who lies about things.
Yes.
And I don't like doing that. And I always want to find the honest persuasive route. And it's fun to try and go, what is a effective way of being defensive behind deception? Yeah.
And so when you play those social encounters, do you try to err more on the deception side or the persuasion side?
I am struggling to play on the deception side.
It's interesting because I played a character. She wasn't charismatic by any stretch of the means back in my player days, where I think a lot of gay men or just queer men in general fall into the cunty elf sorceress role sometimes, where you're just like, oh, I want to be deceptive, or I want to be persuasive, or I want to be intimidating. Like I want to use those 3 charismatic things, but it just comes off as like a bitch. And it's just like, I just want an excuse to act that way. And I'm like, I tried to be deceptive, but it was just like me lying to make myself feel better. And then my DM was like, why are you doing it like this? You can just be like, you just use intimidation. I was like, oh, I guess I could do that, but that feels like more barbarian. He's like, no, you can be a bitch. And I was like, oh, I could do this. But then it's like, that's always been the struggle of these charismatic roles at the table, where you have to play that to another person. It's not like just rolling athletics and being like, can I make this jump? You have to be persuasive or intimidating somewhat in real time, which I've found difficult. I don't know if you have.
Yeah. It's hard to find. I do better with intimidation because I understand the like, oh, here's the pressure point I can lean on. But on the like the fantasy of lying to portray yourself as a certain way, I think I'm leaning into persuasion so much because I want to be in a fantasy scenario where being honest and being kind and being clear works.
Yeah.
I want the fantasy of being truthful as much as possible to be effective in all situations.
We talked about this too off stream, where how similar is Prasa to you as a person? Like, is there like an experience that you're trying to exude that you don't get to exude in your normal life as Prasa? Because people may know you on the internet for various things, and if we talk about exposure, it's just like Prasa is very guarded. So I noticed that as a difference between you and the character.
I think they are not very similar to me. I am trying to tap into them as somebody who operates mostly on their fear, which is really not a place that I go to. I've worked to move away from that place a lot. So I'm having to extrapolate, well, what if I didn't do that? Who could I be if I were reflexive, reactively defensive about everything?
Okay. Do you think, how comfortable are you feeling? I'm like, I can't tell, honestly. So it's like, are you feeling like it's something that you're comfortable doing, or do you want to try and move away from it?
Ask that another way.
Are you comfortable feeling outside your skin in this character?
Ooh, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. I continue to want to go the easy route of being as honest as I can be.
I think that's what, at least in my experience in knowing you both in real life and through the internet, is that you do come across as a genuinely honest person, almost to like like this level of like, oh, I don't think I could be that honest. It's, you know, like I reference a lot of your TikToks and kind of how you move through life in just this assurance almost, but also like whimsy at the same time. You take everything seriously, but not seriously. It's a really interesting line that I see you walk that I'm envious of and appreciative of at the same time, where I'm like, you are so open and honest, it feels like, but Prasa feels a little different. But have you always been that kind of open and honest in real life?
Definitely not. It's a thing that I have practiced doing, and I found that it works better for me because I am simply just not very good at lying if I haven't prepared very well for it.
Okay. Are you lying right now? Did you prepare for this?
Ooh, if I am, I've prepared for it so deeply that I'm unaware of it. I am good at lying if I've world built it, of the like, okay, I've got 3 answers in all directions about this lie. And the challenge that I want for Prasa is that they are somebody who lies on the fly.
Okay.
Who can go, here's something I did to cover myself right now, and I will evade the consequences.
I think you've been pretty successful thus far.
Great. I'm gonna keep trying to ramp that up.
It's been interesting. I like putting you at the table with. So Des, you're playing at the Southern Roots, so you have Nathaniel, Ahmed, and Des counter to you. Ahmed and you have kind of a similar serious vibe, kind of like the mom-dad situation, where I feel like Des is kind of like the older brother, but Nathaniel is the chaotic uncle, cousin from down the lane. And I've really enjoyed the two of you kind of not sparring, but bouncing off of each other, especially in the last situation.
It is very intentional because, you know, in the fullness of it, in the same way that Nathaniel, that Mayor has been like so excited about Pebble in spite of what a problem Pebble has become for existing in our company. This is the Tarrasque baby. Similarly, Nathaniel is such a fucking delight that I'm like, your action caused a problem, but you're so cute about it.
Yeah, it's hard to be mad at a cute little redheaded gnome.
But I will try and play that Prasa is mad at them, because that can be interesting.
Yeah, I think you've done a great job. I'm excited to see where that dynamic goes. Maybe a romance.
They seem very into, I don't know if romance is the word, but connection.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
maybe
they're exploring.
You'll form some sort of like hippie commune that raises Tarrasque babies.
You also mentioned Safina.
Yes,
and I'm loving having another high int character who operates very differently from Prasa in the party.
I was interested to put you two together. Like when I did the pre-stream kind of assignment of characters, I wanted to do, like, obviously I did the spread of classes because I wanted some balance at least at the end of the day. But putting you two together was intentional because of the high intelligence. I've never had 2 high intelligence characters together, but also 2 high intelligence characters that are frontline fighters. I'm just like, oh, my 2 tanks on this table are the wizard and the artificer. I'm like, okay, let's see how this goes. Like, I just wanted to see what that dynamic looked like. So
and I think Prasa has a high degree of respect for her out of the like, oh, you play on my level differently, but I understand how you move.
Yeah.
You value the things I value.
I'm interested to see where this dynamic takes you. But yeah, the thing that, so we've talked about a bit about like your what you might be known for on the internet, but the things that I really appreciate that I've gotten to see you is your relationship with your partner Teo. So we have Ahmed and Joe at the table, who are a married couple, and you and Teo are together in another couple. But unlike Joe and Ahmed, where Joe is kind of like a little bit not in the nerdy scene, doesn't play video games and all that stuff, but you and Teo, I think, have a lot of the similar references. Was that always the case? Is that what drew you to get?
Absolutely. The two of us are very much, our cultural reference points live in a very 1930s to 1960s place.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah, can I say the F slur on here?
It depends on which one.
All right, I'm not going to. We're very old school F slurs. So we have a lot of similar
fans
reference
of musical theater.
Yeah, that'll do it real nice. We share a lot of references. We share a lot of values in storytelling. We also both play a lot of D&D together.
Yes. So you're not just in this game, but you're in another home campaign.
Yeah, we played a home campaign we've been in for 7 years almost.
That's amazing.
We're level 15 now. Yeah.
I love a long-term game like that. It is a commitment to a group of friends where you're just like, I don't need an excuse to hang out with you, but it's nice to have one, and it's nice to have something to focus on. And that was what I definitely struggled on with a lot of my long-term friends during like the pandemic, where we got on those Zoom calls and it's just like, all right, well, we're just going to talk for an hour and we're all doing the same thing. We're just sitting here. And even now, after the post-pandemic, and my friends have moved out of the city, I'm like, I don't have anything to talk to you about because we talk all the time on like the internet. There's something to be said about like, I'm going to sit with my partner and sit with my friends and do something intentional and come up with a new story when I can't see them on a regular basis. But what is your character in the level 15 campaign?
I'm playing a Tabaxi sorcerer. Like Tabaxi is a cat person.
Yes.
He started off as a wild magic sorcerer, which is the one who sorcerer has an innate, unlearned connection to magic, and the wild magic one is unstable and causes random effects.
That's when you cast a spell and you roll a d20 and then something crazy happens.
Some additional weird effect happens.
If it rolls on 20, yeah. I've never played with a wild magic sorcerer before.
Teo also was playing the wild magic barbarian.
Oh, God.
So we had a couple of random things going on, and at some point they were in a sort of arcane coma that I think we both sacrificed at least I sacrificed my wild connection to that and lost my subclass for a few levels and had to acquire a new one. And I have become the wizard for the arcane version of the sorcerer. Our DM has homebrewed a magical secret society subclass for me that takes on a few wizard-like features.
Okay. So is that what kind of drew you to a high int character maybe?
Oh yeah, I like the wizard from our party in that game left, and I decided to headband of intellect, skill expertise, like retrain a couple skills into history and arcana, and now I am getting all of the lore dumps. I'm like, DM, tell me more about this book. Tell me more about this person. How does this work?
I do behind the scenes. Jonah does really good note taking that I'm still connected on your notes app. So I'll pop in there because I'll sometimes forget. I'm just like, oh, okay. But it's really nice to see the story from your perspective and like what you're taking notes on and what you're seeing as important or what to focus on. Because not to say like, okay, now I'm going to focus on that, but I'm like, oh, I didn't make this person that I think is important that I want them to follow. I need to work a little bit harder to kind of push them, but in a natural way. Or if it's just like, okay, that person's not important, I'll figure out someone else and we can move down the line. Working on the fly is a skill that I'm trying to develop in this.
I try to not take notes on things that my character is not paying attention to.
Okay.
So things that go on for the other characters that I'm not there for, I mostly don't take notes on.
Fair.
Because I'm like, I feel like the honest version of this is Prasa can hold 2 pieces of information about that.
Yeah.
And we'll get the rest of it wrong because if they weren't there.
Awesome. Okay, good to know. I'll store that away. Do you have any advice for being the designated note taker at the table or undesignated note taker? Do you have any advice for people to take notes for their D&D group?
The thing I like about being the note taker is that it means that I get to go pour back through previous sessions and go, oh, there was a related thing 7 sessions ago with a person with a similar name. There's maybe more about this. And this is a way of either exploring the world building or haranguing your DM with, wait, these 2 things might be connected. How are they? Tell me about it.
It does definitely feel like the 7th grade, you forgot to assign us homework. And I'm like, oh God, I forgot about this. And I have to come up with on the fly, or I'm just not like looking at my own notes often enough. But no, I need as much help as I can get. So thank you for that.
I have a world building question for you.
Yes, please.
You DM'd a campaign in this setting, in this continuity previously. With 5 of the players in this.
4 of the players.
4 of the players here. And you're now moving forward with new characters.
Yeah.
A bunch of new players. And many of the NPCs and even the PCs from the previous campaign continuing to exist and have effects. How's that going for you? What's your experience of it?
Honestly, I love this stuff. I love building fantasy worlds in my head, and just I think it's the RPG in me, or just like that. It's the same thing, kind of like what you were saying of if I have like a Baldur's Gate or any sort of like dense RPG that has a lot of lore and a lot of books to read and secrets to peruse, I want to read all of it. I want to get lost in the sauce when it comes to the lore of the world. So in my mind, it all makes sense. What I've struggled with is, okay, I need to put this onto paper. I need to find some sort of digital medium to collect this, which has been hard, but I have it all in my head, which is just like translating it. So it's been hard in making sure that I keep track of it. But it's easy when I can think of it in reference to what I try and do with my PCs is I try to give everyone a friend, like, and this is, a very basic way of saying it, a friend, a lover, an enemy. And so like every PC has an assigned like NPC that fills one of those three roles or all three of those roles to kind of reference and to make the world feel real. So when I think of these NPCs, it's like, oh, this person's related to this storyline or this person or this thread, so I can pull it back in. And then I'm like, I've talked to a few other DMs in this where I'm like, okay, I need to make sure I'm not writing some like really dense K-drama that like self-references itself and only makes sense to me. I'm like, does this make sense to you? They're like, it sounds like you made a lot of work on this, and if it makes sense to you, then it makes sense. And I'm like, okay. So that's my biggest struggle, to answer your question. It's like, it makes sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to anyone else. But I do appreciate that you're picking apart picking through the lore of it all.
It's exciting. Like, I know the textbook bits about Faerun.
Yeah.
Slightly.
That was my favorite when we ended pre-stream, when I told you what the plan was to move across the continent. And you got so excited, it just warmed my heart, because I'm just like, oh, someone's as excited about this as I am, because I felt the exact same way. It's like everyone focuses on the Sword Coast, and there's very little like data on all these other tiny cities and settlements across the continent that I'm like, some I have information on, some I'm just going to be able to make up.
I know there's an area in the southern central part of the Big Faerun map that has like catastrophic damage from the spell plague, and like there's just periods of like busted up magic zones, like, sort of disaster areas. And I'm like, I don't know if we're going there, but like, I know it exists. I want more story about that. It's certainly interesting.
Yeah, I'm trying to balance also like trying to get you guys back to your original group, because I want that reunion to feel earned. But I also don't want to like speed through it. So I'm like, if they want to explore, let's let them explore. I want to go on this journey with you guys. It's like, but I don't want to feel like I'm directing you to do this, because it's your story too. But yeah, let's, while we're talking about D&D, let's have you roll our D20, and I will give you the question associated with it.
What's my modifier for this?
0.
Dump stat. 11.
What is your alignment on a good day versus a bad day?
Ooh. I think this is for my character, or for me as a human?
For you as a person.
For me as a person.
Like, where are you feeling right now?
Ooh. I think on a good day, I'm a neutral good.
I can see that.
I think I have a lot of lawful tendencies, but I am also too unable to hold to a consistent structure or rubric to be able to fall into lawful as much as lawful defines.
Especially this day and age in this country, it's like, okay, I'm following the law. What does that get me? It's like a high tax bill and war in the Middle East. So,
but even looking at unlawful as like ordered,
yes,
I think I have. Not just due to Catholicism for religious reasons, but for structural reasons. I think I'm drawn towards order, and my personal chemical makeup leans towards chaos. So I fall in the middle.
Okay. Yeah. Everyone loves a healthy, neutral lifestyle. I've learned in therapy that I'm also a recovering Catholic, that raised with a lot of Italian Catholic women in my family, where up here is the natural state. Like yelling, screaming, and good, bad, and in between. And I'm like, that's what I'm used to in my family. Not in like a but it's just like a lot of loud Italian women at Thanksgiving is just screaming at each other. That's the way they show their love. And then like low crashes. And I had to learn to live in that neutrality so that the highs weren't as high and the lows weren't as low. But that usually comes across as people would be like, are you okay? Are you having a good time? I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm just not like expressing myself as much. So I've been trying to be like, my husband especially, he's like, is everything okay? I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, well, it's also probably the Zoloft helping as well. Take your meds. So the thing I also learned about you in the last couple of months is that you are, I don't know if, do you feel that you're more well known for your online persona or your musical persona?
Oh, definitely online persona.
Because I really enjoyed getting to know your musical persona in the last couple of months. It's just, when I say this before, it's like, if I could use one word to describe you, and I hope you don't take offense to this, it's whimsical.
I love that term.
It is just like you have no fear of kind of being as goofy or silly or sincere, and you can fluctuate between it. But your most recent show, you just came back from a trip in Puerto Vallarta with your partner Teo. Tell us a little bit about that show and where it came from.
Yeah, it is. We're doing a show now called Double Indemnity. It is. I think we've taken a page out of the Oh Mary direction. That is like, I want to be as smart as I can be about being as stupid as possible, and as queer as possible. This is born out of like, my partner is a songwriter, and they'd written a show entirely of their own material.
Is it this one or
it's not this one? They'd written like a one-person show that I played for.
Gotcha.
My previous pre-filming life was as a music director, arranger, a somewhat functional musician. And I was doing that for this work, but as we traveled to, the various gay vacation towns that we've been performing in, it became clear that my online persona was a draw. And if we were going to market the show as Jonah Wheeler is doing it, Jonah Wheeler has to do something other than play the piano. So I started getting up to the front more. And after a couple of years of that, we now have a show that is a legit two-hander that we're both parts of.
It's a lovely show. If you get a chance to see it, you guys are going to be performing definitely in P-Town this year.
We're going to be performing in P-Town on Sunday and Tuesday, Monday and Wednesday. Sunday and Tuesday, I think, of Bear Week. Maybe Tuesday, it's in my calendar. Just the early end of Bear Week in P-Town in July in 2026. We're going to be performing in Chicago during IML.
That's right.
Yeah.
And all the gay locales and locations and parties. And
it's really practical for me to go to gay places, do a show that anchors us in town, and then film with 2 or 3 people when I'm there. You
do hit the trifecta of musical theater nerd and online performer pretty well. But your show, I do have to call out, there is that one little bit for D&D that I was pleasant that I saw.
I am really delighted in that. There's we do a long spellcasting number about built around various nonsense spellcasting songs anchored on Lady Gaga's Abracadabra. But I realized partway through the middle of it of we need to define spellcasting. And a great resource for spellcasting is the Dungeons & Dragons 2024 Player's Handbook that defines spellcasting's physical components as a material, a somatic, and a verbal. Let's demonstrate.
Yes. People do not remember that as part of their spellcasting focus, which is why I'm I like to kind of constrain my spellcaster sometimes and be like, oh, I'm going to cast this spell. I'm like, so read those little letters next to it. Is there a somatic component? Yes. Okay, well, you can't use your hands because you're constrained. Now what are you going to do?
I have been playing in my other campaign, I've been playing a sorcerer, and the sorcerer has metamagic, which allows them to make alterations to the conditions of casting a spell.
That's true, yeah.
And I have been loving the subtle metamagic that allows you to cast it without several of its components, so that in social settings or with your hands bound, you're still able to do magic in secret.
You can be more sneaky in that.
And in Rusty, that character is Tin Roof Rusted out of the Beefy-Tooth song.
We on stream the other day, Teo did let us know that. So lovely name.
His wild magic came with the fact that all of his verbal components were anachronistic, mid-century pop culture references.
As they should be.
They should be. That has sort of faded over time, but Thunderstep was cast via Calgon, Take Me Away. Anyway, why am I talking about this? Rusty he's mostly a good character, but he definitely takes a level of secrecy by casting a subtle detect thoughts so that he is able to read the minds of the people around them without realizing that he's cast a spell.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do you envision taking any sneaky spell encounters while you're playing as Prasa moving forward?
I don't think so, because I think their sneakiness is going to be on its face.
Okay.
Their sneakiness is going to be less about magically doing it and doing it on an interpersonal level, which I'm very excited to start exploring more.
I'll try and give you some more opportunities for that in the future.
I saw a big one that I was a little bit too sleepy to catch it in time last time, and Des got to it. I was like, we don't both need to play this beat. You're doing the thing. Go do the thing.
I think that's, I love having a mixture of experienced players at the table where you and Ahmed have some level of experience to understand how to share the spotlight with Nathaniel. Des has some experience, but like allowing them to be the main character, which I think is only comes with experience, where you know that it's not just about you. So it's been interesting to see not just you, this table, but the other players of just sharing that spotlight and teaching each other a little bit more.
The counterbalance to that is like knowing when to step up on it. Like pre-stream, we had the encounter with Marwa, where it was like, no, I'm going to step in front of this group and I'm going to take this beat. I'm mad.
Yeah.
And I have plot shit to deal with right now. So tell me things.
That was the moment I was like, okay, as Marwa, and like, I tried to embody these NPCs as naturally as possible. And she would be like, why are you mad at me? And I'm like, why are you mad at me, Jonah? And it was like, no, he's mad at Marwa, but not mad at Marwa. He's mad at the situation. And I'm like, okay, remove yourself. It's just pretend. I had to remind myself. But it's interesting because a lot of the players you talk about are you purposely not playing like a performance bard style? Like,
say that another way.
So are you looking, do you ever try to err on the side of like being a bard? Because that's more of like a performance oriented. Do you shy away from?
I do. I feel like there's a lot of, there's the classic bard shtick of I'm a magical musician. And like, I feel like that trope is a little too eggily close to home from my musical self that I'm like, I don't know if I want that. I am drawn to the eloquence bard.
Yes.
Which is the non-musician bard who's very good at words. And I am interested in the storytelling of that.
Is that part of the main group? I can't remember.
I think we have one in this.
Okay.
But there is a bard archetype that is based on their ability to be a conversationalist as opposed to musician. And
That's right.
Find its archetype to be interesting. But I don't know, the bard has never captured my imagination.
Yeah, it's interesting. Probably because you live a bardic lifestyle to begin with. Do you draw on any like specific inspirations when it comes to your performance, either musically or in D&D or elsewhere, of being like, this is a person that I feel the most kinship with, either fictional or real life? Like, for instance, who's your musical influence for what you do?
Gosh. I don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm drawing from a lot of places. Like I live in a lot of the 50s and the 60s of pop music.
Where did that come from?
Ooh, this is gonna sound sad. My mom passed when I was 11, and what I did in response was I thought about, I very subconsciously got really into, what music was happening when she was 11.
That's really sweet.
And so like that would have been in 1965. So I got really obsessed with the music of the 60s, and then I worked backwards a little to the 50s because it's easy to find collections of popular music bounded by about 1955 to 1970. So that became my era.
And is it just the singer-songwriters, or did you go into like musical theater route? Or
I got really into the charting pop records of that time.
Okay.
So like the emergence of rock as a genre and the album as a format was not really a thing I was looking at. I was looking at like the schlocky pop singles.
Interesting.
Like I got really into Leslie Gore, The Fifth Dimension, like these fairly like overproduced and like at that time, but definitely now, hokey sounding acts that I have a great appreciation of the overproduction of. I
think it kind of speaks, I can see it more clearly now with your performance style and just kind of how you kind of move through the world, is just, there should be room for more hokiness, as we say, because if you take yourself a little too seriously, then I think it puts people a little off center. Like they're a little uncomfortable with that. It's like we're all a little silly sometimes. But I love that connection with you and your mom. Do you feel like you got to understand her a little bit better after that?
I don't think I did. But I did find a lot of value and comfort in that material.
Well,
it gave me something to obsess deeply over.
It's just now that next time I see you perform, it's just going to be an extra cherry on top to know that that's some inspiration there within.
You asked on inspiration, and I did think of something that
that
Teo and I particularly both draw inspiration from, and that is the infomercial. We have a great love of
can see that.
Of an overproduced and somewhat stiff commercial format.
Do you have a go-to infomercial that's like top of mind, best example of what you draw your like the product or the person?
I mean, I think of like OxyClean.
Yes.
As like the iconic commercial of that style.
Yeah.
But we put one in all of our shows. It becomes a lot of the formats of social media content. It's become part of my my video person explorations lately.
That's the connection. I was like, there's something so familiar about what you do on TikTok and your productions where I'm like, where is that? Where have I seen this before? But you're right. It's an infomercial.
There's an idea in the video work that I do that you want the performance to be kind of invisible. You want it to feel like you're like doing something for real. And I think there is the alternative of, I also love performance that is really obvious.
Yeah.
Where the game is not about how believable we are in the setting. It's about how much fun we're having with this role play we're doing.
It's a little drag. It's very much like we're all in on the joke. So now that we're all in on the joke, let's have fun with the joke. And I do feel like my favorite part of your shows was just like how stupid the jokes were.
Yeah.
And it's just like, if you are too serious for a stupid joke, then it's not for you. Just go on and live your boring life. But I couldn't, like, I laughed as much as shook my head at like the stupidness of your stuff. So I appreciate that type of humor. But yeah, I think comes to infomercials for me, I don't know why I think the ShamWow guy, only because of the controversy surrounding it. Because I remember someone bit his tongue off or something like that.
That sounds right.
Well, producer Nathaniel will fact check me on this before the end. But in the meantime, we're going to have you roll the D20 one more time.
Great. 7.
What's a character you thought was hot and then later questioned your taste? Not at the table, but just like in
a character in media.
In media.
Ooh.
Like you liked Aladdin until you realized those baggy pants were as like not in style anymore.
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is I've been playing a lot of Hades.
Yes, Hades 1 or 2.
I played Hades 1 last year, and my whole household is playing Hades 2 obsessively right now. And the first game, I was so into the hokey dad energy of Poseidon.
Yeah, I can see that.
Who is just like hollow bravado. It's like, as opposed to Zeus, who is like cocky masculinity and like not really thinking about the consequences of actions, Poseidon feels really put upon of like, I'm the big guy, I'm the big man, and I'm confident. And I learned that talking in a big voice is how I'm supposed to express that.
He's a tidal wave. No, there's some that just online discussion of being like, do I like this character in Hades, or do I just find them attractive? And what is that Venn diagram? And it's like, oh, all of these gods are just incredibly attractive, and the art style is just amazing. And I will speak nothing but kind words to Supergiant Games. Back in the day, you can look it up, I used to make my own video games. I had a company called Golden Ruby, and we produced 4 games. Technically 4. And Supergiant was starting around the same time as us. They were like a year or 2 before us. And we would go to conventions, and I think their game Transistor had just came out. And they were just like the pinnacle for me. Like, if I was going to be a studio, like, that's who I wanted to be, because they had a clear art style, they had a clear vision, they knew what type of game they wanted to make, and they're still doing it. It's just like such a beautiful, simple setup, but like Hades just blew it out of the water for them. Like, look up Supergiant Games. They've only made like 4 games and they're still around. So props to you indie game developers. But you're playing Hades 2 right now. What's your go-to weapon?
Ooh, I don't have a go-to weapon. I like all of them a lot, but
Do you just pick the one that's highlighted for the darkness?
I do. I like the way that the game encourages you to try different strategies every time.
Do you have a favorite god other than Poseidon? God or goddess?
What I was going to say about Poseidon is I find his art design less horny in the second game.
That was the original question, yes.
Yeah, coming back to that, just to button it. I love the up close damage boons of Aphrodite.
Yes.
I love that they've built Aphrodite not as like the powers that I give you are wispy and lovely. You want to be close to people.
Yeah.
So you get huge damage bonuses to wallop people when you're right next to them.
Yeah. No, I like that. But it also lends itself to the right, like you have to think about, okay, which weapon am I going to pick? Which trinket am I going to pick? Which boon am I going to collect? It's all the tarot cards. It's a lot where I'm just like, I know that I'm not doing this to the best of my ability, but Hades 2 is definitely when I'm traveling, that's the game I just pick up and play because there's always something to do.
I'm, for character design, and Teo, I believe as well, favorite absolute thing in this game is Scylla. Who is built as the leader of a punk band.
Yeah.
And all of that voice actress is just giving an insane person, an insane self-aggrandizing performer with great weirdness.
Scylla the Siren, it's the second layer of the underworld, and you fight her and her bandmates as they're singing. What is that style of music? I don't even know.
I think it's punk.
Punk. It's just
judging by the like running kick drums in one of those.
It's just like that is a song I downloaded. That one, like that I listened to. It's such a beautiful song, but also funny and stupid and irreverent. Where she is, I'm always drawn to those female characters, the Cordelia Chase type of thing, being like, I'm so important. You can't tell me that you're more important than me. I don't care if you're trying to save the world. I'm the focus. I'm the main character. Like that level of delusion of a female character, specifically a female character, where I'm just like, oh, the world has not beaten you down to tell you that you're less than. And it's so empowering from like a queer man's perspective. I know I'm talking about Scylla because she doesn't have but like a couple of words in that game, but it's very much in that same archetype for me of being like, you can't tell me that I'm less than. Only I can decide how much I'm worth. Where I'm like, I try to apply that into my day-to-day life on a regular basis. It's tough, but I'm that's why I think I like Melanoe. You finished the game, right?
Yes, I have.
That twist at the end, I did not see coming.
I got it this morning.
Oh, you got it this morning?
This morning I found that twist.
Oh my goodness. It is such a satisfying ending to that game. Or not ending, but like twist with who she is. And
solid beat of closure.
yes, it makes it feel so much more well-rounded at that point. But it is, I guess I mean, like a queer man, you always err towards the female character to play, the Princess Peach, if you will. So is there, as part of this DM therapy, is there anything that you need to get off your chest about me as your DM that you're not particularly happy with? That I need to change?
I have such a nitpicky thing that I'm going to say.
Please.
Which is coming out of the teleport into this next section, we've had some irregular long rest times that are like in the middle of a session.
Yeah.
Or things have happened when we would be doing our preparations. And I don't normally play prepared casters or people who can change things on a day. I've played a barbarian and I've played a sorcerer for long times who are locked into choices for long periods. And I don't know the clarity of mechanic of where to make those changes outside of where the rules structurally say I can.
We can talk about that, but no, you make a fair point. It's like I kind of threw the threat of the Tarrasque at you, and it's like, okay, now you have some breathing room. So you're in the city. I'll allow you to have a long rest, but yeah, it is that conscious of being like, when do they eat? When do they go to the bathroom? When do they sleep?
It's not important narratively.
Yeah,
but I haven't yet figured out how to approach the narrative mechanical balance of, cool, when do I get to prepare my spells differently this day?
Yeah.
Or rebuild this item into another one, which like We've taken a long rest at doing the drop in the middle of sharks in the ocean. It definitely doesn't make sense for me to take an hour and transform my items now, but we'll figure that out in time.
You will.
Yeah.
You will. We'll figure it
I
out.
don't want to slow down storytelling to do that either.
I think that that's the risk. It is just kind of like, I want there to be an active threat for you guys to worry about, but I also want you guys to calm down and talk to each other sometimes. And the balance is the fun of the fun of it is trying to figure out that balance.
I like these new people at the table.
But not Nathaniel.
No. Nathaniel's terrible, and his character is boring.
I just gave Nathaniel a talking horse to be friends with, so he better be thankful for that. So that's going to be it for us at Tavern Talk. Thank you so much, Jonah, for joining me at the table.
Yeah.
And this has been, like I said, Tavern Talk. You can find us next time with someone else.